I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about if they loved you, they would tell you.
Would they? Ooh, before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you are curious about speaking on your situation with one of us, you can feel free to do so by booking on the website.
Absolutely. Be happy to help you because breakups are extremely confusing. And even the smallest things that happen with your ex feel like a huge deal, whether it's them changing a profile picture or changing your status online or even watching one of your stories. Everything feels like a huge deal when you're trying to figure this stuff out. So we do this all the time. We'll help you understand what's going on.
Right. And even what your ex says or doesn't say can be a really big deal too. So we figured we would cover this video because it's one of those thoughts that you come across when you're going through a breakup and you think, well, if they really cared, wouldn't they show it? Wouldn't they tell me?
Yeah.
So we're going to cover this.
Yeah, because sometimes people just give blanket advice, right? And they have these ideals about, relationships should be easy, right? You know, how many times do you see people say, relationships should be easy? Well, who's saying that information?
Right.
They probably heard it from their avoidant parents, and now they're repeating it to you, right? But another thing that people often think about is this idea of, well, if they loved you, they would tell you. If they loved you, they would show you. If they loved you, they wouldn't have broken up with you. But love is a lot more complicated than that, and it's certainly a lot more complicated than what you're going to see at the Hallmark Channel at Christmas time.
And this is very similar to another video where we covered if they wanted to, they would. This is the same type of concept of what prevents people from showing their affection.
Yeah.
You know, what keeps people from telling others how they feel? And could someone love you and not share it?
Absolutely. It's a great question because if you have this black and white attitude of love, you know, what they would, you're not going to really see how complicated feelings are and needs are and the inability to stay in a relationship can be, because love, both giving and receiving, is not easy for many people to do.
And you bring up a really great point about Hallmark. Because on TV, in the media, we see these examples of romance. Sometimes they can be over-romanticized. We can start to think that our lives should look like that every day. And when we're not experiencing that in our partnerships, we're definitely not experiencing that in a breakup, it can make us question whether that person really cares.
Yeah. I mean, movies, TV, it's entertainment. But you know, so is Star Wars and the NBA and Mike Tyson boxing at 60 years old. It's entertainment. It's meant to entertain. It doesn't necessarily coincide with reality. I mean, you look at, I don't know if you saw the Mike Tyson fight, but a lot of people thought it was fixed or it didn't look realistic. I mean, looking at it afterwards, it looks like there were a lot of times Mike could have thrown a punch and he didn't. Or that, you know, after he hit Jake Paul, it looks like Jake goes into him and like he says something to him and Mike taps him on the shoulder like, I got it, better not hit you so hard from here on out. You're right? So, I mean, but it's meant to entertain, and that's what, you know, 100 million people got one night, is that entertainment. But it's no different from these romance movies. Don't think that romance movies is how dating and relationships work. It doesn't work like that.
Right, right. So being able to manage your expectations in a relationship is important. Now, of course, we all have needs and wants, and it's okay to want affection from your partner. It's definitely okay to want to hear that they love you.
Yeah.
You know, so this is important. And I will say, talking about ideals, the avoidant also chases these ideals. So if your partner or your ex had more of an avoidant attachment style, you probably didn't hear a lot of I love yous. You probably didn't get that type of affection, maybe in the very beginning, because they do come off strong. But in the meat of the relationship, that is more difficult for an avoidant to do.
Absolutely.
And so they typically chase these ideals, but in their mind, they reserve their affection for the right moment or the right person. And part of their avoidant mechanism is that the right person in the right moment never comes. That keeps them avoiding, is that, oh, I can't do that just yet. Ooh, I better be cautious. I better be safe about this.
Yeah.
And to me, just in my experience working with clients, that's one of the saddest things that I see, and a common regret that I see in my avoidant clients, is that they didn't express what was going on in their life, and they didn't express their affection to their partner. So to me, it's really a travesty to see this happen, because at the end of the relationship, it might even be later on in their life, they start to look back and realize the way that they've pushed other people away when they really, really cared about them. So that's why this topic is important, because you might not hear it from someone, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't love you.
And that's along with what we say and in a breakup, that the avoidant, they think they're going to be better off without you. Life is going to be so great without you. And then they realize months later, what am I doing? I do love this person. And they get hit with all this anxiety like it was the day of the breakup. But because they've suppressed their needs for so long and they don't know what healthy love looks like and it's uncomfortable for them to navigate it, they don't know what to do. And they just kind of shut down and keep you at bay because love has always been painful for them in many ways, right?
Right. And so it's important to consider the other ways that affection comes out. Maybe there are things in their behavior that show you their love and care for you. I noticed that a lot of times those with more avoidant attachment styles tend to be acts of service type people.
That is so true.
So they're more likely to fix your car. They're more likely to make you a nice home-cooked meal. They're more likely to do something for you with their actions rather than maybe words of affection or even physical touch and showing love in those more ooey-gooey type of ways.
That's true.
So that's something to reconsider while you're reflecting on your relationship or your past relationship, to think, how else did love show up? You also have to consider ways that attachment showed up, ways that they might have relied on you as second nature because both of you were in a partnership. That is showing of attachment. When someone calls you and says, hey, can you defrost the chicken? They do it almost like second nature without a thought, because the both of you have that attachment going, that level of trust going. That was just one example. Other ways that someone's attachment might show is also in the ways that they consider you, or they also have that expectation that you've considered them. So these things kind of happen in a relationship. It's part of that ebb and flow, and that can be showing of the connection the two of you have. So that's something that's really important. And affection is also something that you can ask for. So we don't want this video to be, oh, Hallmark has ruined love for everybody, expect nothing from your partner and tolerate it. That's not what this video is at all. You definitely can ask and make requests in your relationship for the affection that you would like to receive.
And both people are responsible for that. I did an email coaching, I think just a couple days ago, where the partner was expecting her to initiate things all the time, and he wasn't doing it, and so he just wanted more, but wasn't also doing his part to reciprocate. It takes two people. You can't just expect one person to do it, and it's on both people to do it together.
Right. And it's important to voice your needs. See, the thing with avoidance is sometimes they just don't know how to show that affection. So they might not value a comforting touch or a word of affirmation like you might. So sometimes they need a little bit of a push or a little bit of guidance there. And that's just part of being in a relationship with somebody who doesn't have those skills. A lot of us aren't just naturally born with those skills, or, we aren't raised in an environment to where we see those things modeled around us for us to be able to do them in a relationship.
That's so true. So few of us have really grown up in a home where we've seen really healthy, secure parents that we know how to love like they do. You know?
Yeah. And so we have that opportunity to model that for them, but also to voice very clearly with our words. I know many of you are like, if I have to ask for it, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe you should seek a partner who does naturally have that skill set. So, something to consider. You also want to accept the moments of affection that do happen. So sometimes they're a lot more subtle with the avoidant. Sometimes it is a moment of consideration. Hey, I did defrost that chicken for you, even before you asked. You want to be able to praise the things
I got
that you
this
like.
thing at the store that you needed. I knew you needed this. I knew you were out of this. You know?
Right. So it's these little moments of care that go a very long way. And by praising those, by putting emphasis on it and highlighting it, that makes someone feel good. Even the avoidant. Oh, wow, okay. I was able to show up for this person this way. That they liked, noted. So it's part of trying to make a relationship work.
Yep. And you have to be able to identify when people are doing it. If you're overlooking those small things, expecting grand gestures and boom boxes and handwritten letters and all these things, those things rarely happen. They happen sometimes, and actually a lot of times those things turn people off anyway.
Yeah.
So love tends to be smaller, thoughtful things that people do fairly consistently, but you have to be able to see that even though it may not be the way you want them, it may not to do it, like it may not be your love language to get, acts of service. You have to see, okay, even though I would rather them be a gift giver or give me physical touch or whatever it may be, them doing it is showing me that they do love me, that they care. It may not necessarily be in the way that I want, but chances are you're probably not giving them the way that they want it. And fortunately, we tend to give people what we want to get.
Right, yeah.
And so they may be giving you what they wish they were getting. You're giving them what you wish you were getting. Nobody's getting anything, but you're trying to give. So you have to recognize that.
Exactly. Now, if you're in a breakup, of course, your ex is likely not gift giving and doing these things that you would like for them to be doing in a relationship.
Unless you're the dumpy.
Correct.
Then you're doing everything.
Right. But they are likely in an ambivalent state. So they could have mixed feelings about this relationship. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't love you or they never loved you. It's just they are going through a transition in their life. But it's likely that they are feeling ambivalent, that they have mixed feelings about the relationship, and so they're probably not willing to do those loving things at this moment. So breakup can definitely affect how your ex treats you, how distanced or close they feel from you, and those feelings of love and how they show it. I don't want you to get into that mindset of if they wanted to, they would, or if they loved me, they would say it, because it's not always true and accurate.
There are a lot of things to consider other than just that black and white attitude.
Right, exactly.
All right. So hopefully this gives you a lot to think about and consider for your situation. If you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'll be here whenever you're ready to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.